I was trying to figure out who Bill was. Was he the man that I knew from before when he was doing exciting things and he was opening up to me and we were sharing music and even poetry and books? And then he went to treatment and he came back from treatment a very different person. He was very quiet. He was everything was very forced. There was what I learned later was a lot of presenting. I didn't know that's what it was called at the time. And I just didn't know who the real Bill was. So early on for me, I was trying to establish or get acquainted with who Bill was. Similarly for myself, I was changing in ways that I didn't recognize myself in early sobriety. I'd been very independent my entire life. I'd been, as a 17-year-old on my own, successful professional, and all of a sudden my mind was crowded by all of these thoughts of Bill incessantly. Was he okay? Was I doing the right thing? Was he going to relapse on my watch? So my mind was constantly busy with Bill. And I didn't know if I was supposed to be his cheerleader at all costs. I didn't know if I just had to do my own thing and ignore him. And I really didn't know who we were.
I went through a phase of trying to figure out who I was. I mean, I went from running a successful corporation, ended up I'm into Karen, and then out of Karen, and I was asking, who am I? Because I thought I was that person, but I'm not that person. So trying to rebuild your own, character in a recovery was one of my first challenges, and probably the most challenging thing that I did.
The most important part was to learn to communicate again. I felt I was walking on eggshells, and I felt like Bill was telling me what he thought I wanted to hear. And so it was hard to establish when we were really talking with one another versus giving each other the talk. And fortunately, we remained very intimate even early on. And sometimes it felt that it was only in those moments of being literally alone and naked and very close and looking into each other's eyes and sometimes not saying anything. Sometimes that felt like it was the only moment of authenticity. It was the only thing that I felt I could.
What led to curiosity about discovering who that other person was or discovering who you are now?
I don't think it was till maybe the third or fourth year where the real curiosity came in, where I wanted to know genuinely more about Chantel and how she was feeling.
Whatever was going on with Bill, I wish I had better understood that his, whether it was his inability or his unwillingness or however it was qualified to share that with me early on, didn't mean he would never be ready to share it with me. If Bill wouldn't share with me, I saw that as a sign of lack of trust or that he wasn't committed to the relationship. What I didn't understand is that's not what it was. It's that he wasn't ready. He hadn't dealt with it himself. He didn't know how to express it. He didn't perhaps even know that there was something there troubling him. But I wanted him to be my soulmate and tell me everything. I am very visual, and that whole concept of a traffic light really works for me. Because if I had been able to conceptualize that in terms of Bill and maybe dealing with his mother and what was troubling him, he was at a red light. It was just no matter how much I asked, it wasn't going to become yellow. But that could be compartmentalized, and maybe we could talk about his relationship with his father, for example. And that was a green. And we could have started connecting over what we were able to. But I didn't have that perception. It was, it was all or nothing.